I think it's important that for our activists to understand and know what the party stands for, right? Because from time to time we get activists asking us, or even seasoned activists would ask us questions like, the first generation of activists, they were fighting for independence. Next generation was about maybe bringing Singapore from third world to first world. Today Singapore is developed, we are mature, so what is our cause? What does the PAP stand for? I think it's a valid question to ask, and which then requires some reflection of what our values are, what our objectives. Certainly the external environment has changed, our domestic environment has changed, our political environment has certainly become more contested. I think it's a good time to reflect on some of these questions and then have a clearer resolution of what we stand for. And now if people ask us, we can be very clear that we do stand for a party, we are a party that stands for our democratic socialist ideals. We stand for a Singaporean Singapore. We stand for open, compassionate meritocracy, fair and just society, and a democracy of deeds.
I suppose it's a bit strange that that process is reversed in that way, that people have joined the party and then they ask what does it stand for. Isn't it usually the other way around?
Not that it's reversed, but I suppose every now and then you need some fundamental re-examination, so they may have known what they stood for in the past. Like I said, maybe it was in the past, it was about bringing Singapore from third world to first. In the past, maybe it was Swiss standard of living. It was very clear, right? Now you have arrived at this stage. What is the next phase? I think it's useful exercise to go through periodically. I suppose that when you do face challenges, that's also always a good opportunity to get people to sit up and say, hey, let's reflect on some of these and see how these challenges can be turned into opportunities. And everything is going hunky-dory, people are not always in the mood to come together and do these sorts of reflections. So I suppose part of it is just at points of crisis in any organization, whether it's political or otherwise. That's frequently a good opportunity also to rally people together, reflect, and then say, look, are we in the right track? So I don't see this as being particularly unique or reactive. It's not so much concessions that have been extracted or moving under pressure, but I think it's just a reflection of where we are in terms of our development. People say, oh, you're shifting left, right? But in fact, if you look at it, we have always been a party that, we are a democratic socialist party, right? Our ideals have always been to have a fair and just society. We started out recognizing that you can't go on a socialist model in the 60s, and you have to embrace the markets and you have to embrace free enterprise. And it was actually very far-sighted at that time for our founding fathers to go on that basis. It's become more challenging because of the external circumstances, because of globalization and technological advancements. And it's also because our economy is maturing, so it's not growing as fast and our population is aging. So it's only natural, given this phase of development, then to shift the focus and to recognize that because of where we are today, the government then has to do more in order to uphold its same ideals for a fair and just society. You can't do business as usual in the past, right? You've got to do a lot more to uplift the lower income and to strengthen social safety nets. Right. And in fact, what we did in the past, our approach in the past has put us in a very strong position to do what we need to do now. If we had not done what we did in the past, I don't think we would have the resources or the ability, and we will not be as well positioned today to do what we need to do in terms of spending more and strengthening social safety nets, spending more. So I don't see this as, oh, you are moving under pressure, but rather that this is in fact a well-planned shift or a well-planned movement in terms of our calibration of our policies.